saving me Bowers game.
Well, hi there, YouTube. I'm back again today for another game review, and today I'm very excited to check out Alienation from Chris and Corin Lombardi. This is for 2 to 4 players. Age is 8 plus. It'll take you about a little bit less than 20 minutes to play. And in Alienation, you are going to be drafting aliens and then sending them forth to your planet and other people's planets, trying to get the most points. You'll be playing over 3 rounds, trying to collect different sets, or potentially not collect different sets. What am I talking about? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you about it. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Alienation. First and foremost, we got our handy-dandy rule booklet. It's about 1 small page, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples. It's very well done. It'll have you up and running in no time at all. It's also a very simple game, so I can probably teach you how to play it right now. So in Alienation, you are going to be playing over 3 rounds. In each round, you are going to be drafting cards and then playing cards both on your sun and also on other people's sun. And you're going to tally up points based on what aliens you have on your sun. So we'll go over the components, then we'll get a little bit into the gameplay. So component-wise, everybody's going to have a handy-dandy little scorecard here that's going to go up to 30, and you could go over 30 as well. But this is where you're going to be keeping track of your points. Also, it has the cheat sheet right here of what all the different alien races do. So I'll go ahead and show you what those alien races do right now. So the first one is very simple. These guys are the Friendlies. And if you get the Friendlies, it's just victory points. So if you play this on your planet, it's going to be plus 2 victory points. These right here are going to be the alien cards, and you're either going to have 1, 2, or 3 of the different kinds of aliens that are in the game. So the next one are going to be the Rowdies. And how this works is whichever planet has the most Rowdies, every single round is going to gain plus 5 points. If you're playing a 4-player game, the second place will also gain 2 points. Next, we have the Sleepies, which are a lot like the Friendlies, so each time you play them, they're going to give you a point per Sleepy. However, if they are next to a Rowdy, or orthogonally, they don't get any points at all. So the Friendlies are obviously better than the Sleepies. One of my big cons with the game. I'll talk about that a little bit later, though. Next, we have the Matchies right here. And they want to be an even number, so you were hoping to have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Any more than that would just be absolutely insane. Actually, anything higher than like 6 would probably be insane. But if you have an even number of Matchies at the end of a round, you gain plus 5 points. So that's pretty nice. Next, you have the Meanies, and you don't want to have Meanies generally. Every Meanie you have out there is going to be -1 unless you have more Meanies than any other race, in which case it's going to give you 3 points. Last but not least, you're going to have the Sunnies, and the Sunnies are not going to score you any points during the first, the second, or the third round. However, at the end of the third round, whoever has the most Sunnies or had the most Sunnies is going to get plus 6 victory points, which could potentially swing the game. So, how does the round go? Well, you're going to decide who the first player is. Look at the firsties rocket right there. And then you're going to be dealt 9 cards, and you are going to draft one of these cards and then pass it either to the left or the right, depending on which round it is. So let's see. I got Matchies. I got a lot of Matchies and a lot of Meanies. You know what? I'll take... ooh, none of these are really that good. I'll take these 2 Meanies, and then I would pass this over here, and then the other person would draft 1 and pass 1 and draft 1 and pass 1 until you only have 2 cards left, at which point you are going to draft 1 and then discard the other 1. So let's just go ahead and get the 8 cards in my hand, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. So, component-wise, you also have your sun in front of you right here. And as you may notice, there are numbers around the outside. This is to keep track of the sunnies that you have acquired throughout the game, because as I mentioned, whoever's the most sunnies at the end of the game is going to get plus 6 victory points. You don't tally that up, though, until the end of the round. So, now everybody's got their 8 cards. They've successfully drafted. What's going to happen is on your turn, you are going to have one of 2 actions. You can either play down a card on your planet, like so, or you can play down a card on someone else's planet, potentially a card you don't want to have, or maybe they have an even number of Matchies, so you might give them an odd number of Matchies. But you're going to continue to do this until their solar system is filled up. So let's just put whatever is in our hand out here and see what happens. So we'll just do that. So that would be at the end of our round. So let's see how many points we ended up lucking into. First thing we're going to do is we're going to see the Sunnies. We have 3 Sunnies. Those aren't going to score us any victory points, but we will go up 3 on the Sunnies track right there. Next, we have the Sleepies, and we were very fortunate here. No one screwed us over on the Sleepies by putting Rowdies next to them, because if someone would have put Rowdies right here, we would get 0 points for all these Sleepies. Luckily, no one did that, so we would actually get 7 points worth of Sleepies right there. So that would be a very good round. Also, we have 2 more Sunnies over here, so we go boom, boom. So we're up to 5 Sunnies. We have 2 Rowdies, and we'll just say that somebody else had more Rowdies, so we wouldn't score any points for these Rowdies. We have 2 Meanies, and unfortunately, that is not. We have more of different aliens than them, so we would actually lose 2 points. Boom, boom for that. And then we have 2 Friendlies, who are always going to be worth 2 points, so we would finish that round with 7 points and 4, actually, I believe it's 5, on the Sun track. So what we would do then, everybody would tally up their points, you would take all the cards, reshuffle them, and rinse, wash, and repeat, with the person who got their planet filled up the fastest going first, because some people's planets are going to get filled up faster than everyone. For instance, if everyone plays on one person's planet first, I mean, you could potentially just fill up somebody's planet before anybody else has more than 1 or 2 on there. Now, another thing that I want to mention are that there are additional cards that you can add that will spice up the game, the Supervisor variants, and these are double-sided, which is nice. And with these cards, 3 of them will be placed out in the game, and you can potentially earn or lose points if you do or don't do something. So finish around with 2 or more Sleepies, and boom, you lose 3 points. Finish around with Sunnies to the left and right of the sun, you earn 5 points. And these stay out throughout the entire game, and they can make things interesting. But that, in a nutshell, is how Alienation is played. Alrighty then, Alienation. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, the game's not going to be for everybody for a lot of different reasons. 2 to 4 players, very restricted player count, which is going to be a big turnoff to some people. Also, it's an extremely simple game. I think you'd play this with 7 or 8-year-olds, no problem. Once you learn what all the different aliens do, it's ridiculously easy. There's not too many choices, and it's not a very meaty game, which is going to be a turnoff to some people. Getting down to the gameplay itself, I do have quite a few cons, well, a couple cons that I wanted to mention. First is I just don't feel like the different races are balanced, and this leads to the drafting not being that much fun. Take, for instance, Friendlies versus Sleepies. If you have a 2 Friendlies and a 2 Sleepies and you're drafting, you always are going to take the 2 Friendlies for most of the time. Why? Because they're just better. They are. They're just better. Friendlies are going to give you 2 points no matter what you do. Sleepies, on the other hand, could potentially get you 0 points. Now, I understand that you could potentially be thinking about putting those Sleepies next to somebody's Rowdies and screwing them over, and that is an interesting aspect to the game. But for the most part, I just didn't see it. The drafting just felt tacked on for no particular reason. And the drafting isn't fun, and that's unfortunate, because I love drafting. Drafting is one of my favorite mechanisms in games, and the drafting in this game is just, I guess I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that. I mean, sure, when you get the first handful and there's, 9 cards, you're like, yeah, I want that one. And then once you get about 3, you're like, yeah, most of this kind of stinks. And that is definitely a downside. Also, I like the additional variant cards, and I do, and I think they add a lot of gaminess to the game, but the way they say in the rules is you keep them out for the entire game. We liked mixing them up and having 3 different ones out there each time for people to strive for, but that is a your mileage may vary kind of thing. Also, the artwork is cutesy. I personally liked it. Some people think that's going to be a turn-off. The last con I have of this is that, just for me personally, I don't think this is meaty enough to get to the table that often as a game night game. I just don't see it as a game night game, at least in my group, partially because of the restricted player count, and partially just because there's not enough meat on the bones, and it's just not a fun drafting mechanism in the game. Any other cons I have with it? No, I think I hammered on enough. Moving on to the pros. Alienation's I mentioned a lot of cons here, but I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's barely a good game if you're looking for a family game. I would put this strictly in the family game category. With that being said, I think I'm going to keep this game because I think for younger gamers, like I said, ages 7 or 8, where you don't have as much choices as you would like, I think they're going to have fun with this game. And I think they're going to be like, haha, I'm playing Rowdies next to your Sleepies, and I'm playing Meanies over here, and that sort of aspect. And I think they will have fun with that game. Do I think this is going to be anybody's favorite game of all time? No. Do I think this is a great game? No. But do I think in the right circumstance this could be an enjoyable game for your family? Yes. So if you routinely get 2 to 4 players and you're looking for a family game, I think this is one that you can check out. Try before you buy a game at best, especially with that weak drafting. But simplicity, easy to learn, easy to teach, perfectly serviceable components. It's got a lot going for it. I like the box size. You know, a lot of games, they like to have bigger boxes than they need, and that frustrates the heck out of me. This one, very small box, which really is one of the saving graces of the game, I think, personally. So Alienation, I will give it a lukewarm. Check it out if you're in the market for a family game. If you're not, though, I think you're going to steer clear of this one. That is Alienation from Chris and Corin Lombardi. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know. You can take 3 games to a new world with you. You're flying off to a new planet, and they're like, you can't have more than 3 games. What 3 games do you take? For me personally, I gotta go with Dominion. You can shove all those cards in there and have unlimited amounts of game. Just tons and tons of possibilities. Game number 2, you're on a planet. There's not probably too many people to play games with. I'm actually gonna go with Mage Knight with the expansions. There's just tons and tons and tons of game in that game. Last but not least, I gotta take Twilight Imperium because it's my favorite game of all time, and I imagine you're gonna have a lot of time to kill living on a new planet. But what games would you take? What 3 games would you take on a new planet? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.